will help increase earnings of the farmer folk whilst adding value to the crop in the international market, which in turn boosts the country's economy.
Currently, you export the groundnuts either in raw form or in crude form, and that does not give you the maximum benefit. But if you are able to process it into refined oil, when you sell it in the international market, you get better prices, a better value, which will help also to pay the farmers better prices in terms of their groundnut products. So it will help to not only boost agricultural production, but also raise the income level of farmers.
The completion of the over 15 kilometers Sukuta-Jambanjelly road network also featured prominently in the agreement. The project, when completed, is expected to eventually ease transportation for the people of the area. A $15 million financial agreement for the improvement of the energy sector has also been made with the African Legal Support Facility.
So this facility will help us, especially with NAWEC, where we need to develop power purchase agreements, model contracts, because each time somebody comes into the sector, you sit and negotiate with him on a different thing. But the ideal now is to develop a model contract that we will use for whoever wants to come into the sector. And this facility will help us develop that and build other capacity related to negotiation.
Part of the funds will be used to finance food and agricultural sector development projects meant to improve household food security as well as raise income for rural households.
We also signed with the African Development Bank $26 million grant for agriculture. This one is very important because, you know, agriculture is the backbone of this country. In addition to this, there are several other financing that have been secured for agriculture. So there is a lot of money that is coming into the sector, and we hope that with the right implementation by the sector, we should be able to help boost agricultural production and productivity and raise the incomes and therefore contribute meaningfully to the reduction of poverty in the country.
Since the Gambia has been earmarked as one of the countries with excellent track record of project implementation, Minister Colley urged the sectors involved in the implementation process to execute the projects to the letter. For Grts News, this is Babukar Senghor.
With the first drops of rain experienced in most parts of the country, communities are being provided the right methods to deal with disasters. Alwyn Mendy went along with officials as they toured rural Gambia to discuss with local authorities about efforts at building capacities in dealing with disasters.
The rainy season is already a moment when disasters are frequent due to torrential rains accompanied by destructive winds. To mitigate that, the National Disaster Management Agency, under the directives of the President, has taken a new paradigm shift in tackling disasters and disaster-related catastrophes in the country. The new approach is preparedness and prevention. In a recent concluded countrywide tour to sensitize regional administrators and regional disaster reps, Serin Modou Diouf, the man at the helm of the National Disaster Management Agency, said the new approach is more viable.
This came as a result of the fact that during the years, quite a lot of assistance had been given to those affected. And consequently, the trend doesn't change. What we continue to see is that those that had been receiving assistance from the past 4 years still continue to receive assistance. And one of the key reasons of giving them assistance is at least for them to rebuild their livelihood and at the same time use the issues or the materials given to them to upgrade themselves. But then with the experience that we have seen in the previous years, it seems the materials that are being given to them are making them poorer and poorer, or some of them are using it as an opportunity to get more resources, of course making them more and more lazy.
Donor fatigue and the current global economic meltdown are two reasons why response to disaster, as it was always the case in the past, is no more feasible. With this new development, what is now the general message to Gambians, especially those settling in waterways or those living in flood-prone areas?
Those settling in waterways are being warned to move from where they are with immediate effect voluntarily. If they so decide to stay there, and disaster strikes, the chances of them getting assistance is slim.
Disaster hotspots in all the 6 regions were also visited by the national disaster management officials and stakeholders during the tour. The goal of the activity was to assess and recommend to the Office of the President immediate solutions ahead of the cropping season. Conditions of the hotspots vary but similar in many ways. Indiscriminate dumping of waste, blockage of constructed water passages, as was seen in Bara in the North Bank region and Birkama in the West Coast region. Serimodu Juf again on the way forward.
One of the recommendations we'll be putting is to task area councils to come out with dumping sites. Not only open dumping sites, but closed dumping sites that have been fenced with a gate, and that communities will be putting all their rubbish in there. Then their collectors would be coming periodically, move it from there, take it to the official dump site, and so on and so forth. Because the issue of this indiscriminate dumping is a nationwide issue, and we can see the impact it could create to disasters, and it is my responsibility, it is our collective responsibility to ensure that people are educated, people are facilitated, to ensure that they take care of some of these refuse that are being generated by them.
For other hotspots, the recommendation is the creation of culverts as a water passage. In Jara Soma, LRR, a new constructed road blocked a major water outlet. With these existing bottlenecks, it seems road constructors failed to put into consideration the environmental impact assessment at the time of the work. The consequences can be ugly on those settling in the areas during the rains. Another message prominent throughout the tour was a call on Gambians to embrace preparedness and prevention in tackling disaster, for it is described as the most effective way. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
The Nigerian Yoruba community in the Gambia Saturday marked the first anniversary of the reign of their king in the country. The event also witnessed the official opening of the King's Palace. GRTS's Ablai Baji was at the ceremony, and he reported the celebration was attended by senior government officials and local authorities.
Rulers continue to play an indispensable role in society, and in many African countries, the institution is still helping to pave the way for continual stability and development in local communities. A diverse community of migrants from different African countries is steering significant innovations of this ancient body in the country, with several groupings forming societies to advance cultural values. One example is the Nigerian Yoruba community in the Gambia, developing to great heights, seeing a growing membership. The association is officially inaugurating what could be its magnum opus, a palace of kings and royalty celebrating the year-long reign of their crowned king, Oba Masoud KB Abolade. The gathering attracted senior government officials, foreign dignitaries, Nigerians, as well as the paramount chief of the Gambia, Alhaji Demba Sanyang, at the fore of a large attendance of traditional rulers. His Royal Highness Oba Masoud KB Abolade I applauded the giant strides taken by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia in promoting culture, empowering traditional rulers to regain former glories. Oba Masoud described President Jammeh's example as a turning point in local administration.
The reason, Honorable Minister, why we decided to have a king is that in Yoruba culture, the king is the leader of the community. That is, the king settled the dispute between or among the people. It promotes the culture, and then we don't want our cultural heritage to lose, to be washed away. That is why the Yorubas in the Gambia come up with the beautiful idea that let us have somebody to represent us, to coordinate our affairs.
Alhaji Demba Sanyang is the paramount chief of the Gambia. Representing the National Council of SEFO, Sanyang commended the Nigerian Yoruba community for what he described as the unswerving promotion of culture and important African values defining the core of the continent's history. Representing the President of the Republic, Lands and Regional Administration Minister Akibayo emphasized the efforts being made by the Yoruba community to inspire and raise cultural awareness, preserving customs underpinning Africa's civilization. In a world where different cultures subsist side by side, the growing intermix of African communities and is perhaps one means via which the continent's norms and ways could be advanced and strengthened among a younger generation greatly influenced by foreign values. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Abdullah Baji.
We now take our first break. The news continues momentarily.